Our next speaker is brought to us by South Coast Cactus and Succulent Society, and we have the president here, Maria, and she's going to introduce our speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Elisabeth Sarnes, and her husband, Norbert Sarnes, who hail from Germany, where there was a great interest in cacti in the 1970s, and they purchased a few at a local market. And they held on to those for a very long time in their apartment. In the mid-90s, Norbert was stimulated by a talk from Roberto Riesling on Patagonia and wanted to go. But reportedly, it was gloomy, cold, and rainy there. And Elisabeth said, well, I don't want to go there. This is what it's like in Germany. Why would I want to go there? But finally, in 2004, they made the trip, the very first one to Patagonia, and it was transformative. And they would continue to visit that region more and more. At the time that they retired from their day jobs, they could make 3-month excursions and did extensive field work. And this field work led to publications on Ostrocactus, pterocactus, as well as Cactus de Patagonia. Elisabeth has lectured extensively and done great field research on all these plants. And today she will share her passion for the flowering southern Patagonia. Welcome, Elisabeth Sarnes.
Is my microphone on? Can you hear me? My voice is rather bad, but I hope it will stay. So, thank you very much for the invitation here. It's a real great pleasure to be here in California. It's our first stay ever in California. And now I hope I will give you a small impression of Patagonia and why we love it so much. This is Patagonia. It is the southern cone of the continent, the Cono Sur, and we split this talk into 4 parts. We will go along the coast from north to south, and then we will go back along the Andes mountain range towards the north again. So you will see a bit of more or less the whole of Patagonia except for the center. This is the Atlantic coast. It looks a bit like the people come here every morning and rake the beach. Looks very neat. And doesn't look like cacti growing here. So we went to the beach, and we were very astonished to see flowers popping out of the ground. You see Norbert bending down, looking at these flowers, and they turned out to be cactus flowers. They belong to Gymnocalcium. We call it Gymnocalcium gibosum. Of course, some people call it Gymnocalcium chubutense. They grow very, very flat to the ground. And here we have just a small selection of plants growing deep in the soil, but the flowers are quite big, and they remind me always of kind of a parasol being over the plant. And the flower color is always white to a little bit a shade of pink. Now, for the next cactus, we must lie down on the ground because it is a very tiny cactus. And here it is. It's a pterocactus. It is Pterocactus australis, and I think keep this cactus in mind. It will be our travel companion for the rest of this talk. it is very unusual to find a cactus growing so close to the seashore. You see the shells lying all around the plant, so this plant must get quite a lot of salty water over the time. When it is really warm in this part, you might have luck and see one of these tortoises. We had this chance only on one trip, but on that day we saw 5 of them, but in no other trip. Of course, there is more than just cacti. There are very beautiful little plants of the iris family. This is the Alsinium Junceum. And the Junelia flowers are not very spectacular. They are tiny flowers, but the smell is really fantastic. They have a very intense scent, and the butterflies seem to like it very much. We move a little bit further south along the coast and make a stop in Sierra Grande, which is a small town with quite a good infrastructure. You can take a hotel here, stay there for 1 or 2 nights, and look what grows in the surroundings. And very close to the town, we found cacti, like this Austrocactus. This is Austrocactus bettini, with these more or less whitish to flesh color flowers with always a purple stigma and stigma lobes. And when we move to the rock that is outside the town, there is a kind of a plate of rock, solid rock, and good friends from France had told us, go there and look for cacti. And you see I'm taking a picture of yellow flowers popping out of the ground, and these belong to a notocactus. It's Notocactus submamulosus, or if you prefer, Parodia submamulosa. And you can see that there is another small cactus growing next to it. This one did not flower, it flowers later. And this is Viginsia sessiliflora, which flowers at another time of the year. So if you want to see them both in flower, you have to come back. And there's animals here, rather big ones. There's the orcas. They are not here all year long, so you must have luck to see them when you want to see them hunting. And we had the great chance to see these. And there are even bigger animals in this area. We have the great southern whale. Whale watching is always a good idea. And there are bigger animals. Yeah, it's always possible to be a bit bigger. This is Argentinosaurus vinculensis. Well, this one is not alive anymore, but I recommend making a stop here, place your car next to it on the car park, and then just walk around this big dinosaur and look what grows behind. There is Myoeniopsis growing there, Myoeniopsis hikeni, next to more Austrocactus bettini and the Gymnocalciums, which also grow there in this surrounding of this dinosaur. So sometimes it makes sense. Just put your car there and walk around a bit, look down on the ground. We move along the coast and make a short stop at one of the most important national parks of Patagonia, the Peninsula Valdez, which is especially for wildlife. There are guanacos, wild guanacos there, and they are not so shy in this national park because they are not hunted here, and they know it. So this picture was taken in spring when the animals were in a very good mood. And the Peninsula Valdez is the place to see this most southern distribution area of Opuntia sulfurea, which is widespread all over Argentina, and here it reaches its most southern distribution. And the flowers are often not yellow, but more or less tinged orange or yellow, yellow red. There are also immigrant plants. The Carpobrotus is not native here, but it has spread quite a lot along the coast, where the climate is rather mild due to the Atlantic Ocean, and it makes nice flat carpets with beautiful flowers. And in the back you see these yellow flowers, these small shrubs, and the yellow flowers belong to a plant called Boton de Oro, and it's not the flowers that are so interesting. They just look like small sunflowers, but the buttons of these flowers, they are completely covered up with this milky sap. So it looks very interesting. And first we thought it was caused by some insect or some disease, but this is a natural, just a natural thing. Further south, we visit, for us, the most beautiful place to visit, the Magellan penguins. Many of you may perhaps have heard of Punta Tombo, which is a huge penguin colony, but we prefer Cabo dos Bahías, which is smaller, but you feel more in private. So you are all on your own there, and you can get in touch with the penguins, but be careful, don't touch them too closely, because it can be quite hurtful. Just look at these beaks, so you won't be bitten by them, and look at the tongue. And these birds, they look so plump, and you think perhaps they are fat, but they are not. Look at the feathers. They stand upright, and this gives them a look being plump, but they are not. It keeps them nice and warm. I think I would need feathers like that now. So, and here we have them. I love these Magellan penguins because they are so, they try to, you always have the impression that they get in touch with you, that they communicate. So I like these birds very much. We are in a vegetation zone, which is called the Monte Vegetation, which is a shrubby vegetation, not very high, but it's all kind of a bushland. And these are the flowers of some of these bushes. There's the larrea, which is a plant that also grows here in California, as I could see yesterday in the Anza Borrego Park. And there's the Breda Mayera, which is plant from the Leguminosa family. You see the Cyclolepis. And there is this Lithium chilense, which makes these nice red tiny tomatoes. And below the bushes, or inside the bushes, you may discover nice flowers of Calceolaria, this ladies' slippers. I love slippers, I love shoes, so I love Calceolaria. And the Loasa is, it's a beautiful flower, but it's a plant that you should better not touch because it stings, and you will have a longer remembrance of it once you touch it. And there are nice Malvae plants, the Lecanophora, with beautiful pink flowers. And you see the grayish leaves. We are in a rather dry area. Time to move on to our next part. We are now in southern coast. We will go up to the Magellan Strait. It looks very similar to the northern coast, and the climatic conditions are very similar, but it gets a bit cooler now. We can see still there is Austrocactus bertini, a bit stronger spine here, near Caleta olivia. We are already in the southernmost province of Patagonia, Santa Cruz. And in the sandy soils, in sandy areas, the conditions are very good for bulbs. So rhodophialas can grow here, and they are very beautiful. The flowers are about the size of a tulip, and the stems are very low, but the flower size is just impressive. This plant was lately moved to Sephirantis, but I was accustomed to use the name rhodophiala. And a bit further south, we come to a point which is called Cañadón Minerales, and on a slope, Norbert and I, we made a stop because we wanted to look what grows on this hillside, and Norbert came across a huge cluster of this fantastic pterocactus. You see these coppery orange flowers. It's Pterocactus hekini, which is really impressive and makes a nice contrast with these pale straw-colored spines, which are very typical for the Pterocactus hekini. Puerto Deseado, well, this is the place where Charles Darwin landed. You have to go through this vast and empty area to reach the Ria Deseado. Oh, this makes some problems. I cannot move it. And the Ria is a very nice place to go on a small boat trip, to see the commas and dolphins, to watch the seabirds that live here on the rocks, mainly cormorants, ibises, the Paloma antarctica, and this I see called sea swallow, beautiful birds, sea lion colonies, and we will visit a small island called Isla Pingüino to see the rock hopper penguins. This is the only place to see the rock hopper penguins when you come from Argentina, because there are more rock hopper colonies on the Islas Malvinas, which are now in British. They are not as communicative as the Magellan penguins, but they look very cute with these nice yellow ears. This place called Cañadón del Indio is supposed to be Charles Darwin's anchoring point, where they stayed with the two vessels there to explore Patagonia. And this is one of the plants that he discovered, Charles Darwin discovered, this Maiwaniopsis, which was named after him then. This is the type locality. And, well, this Leolemus also was named after him. It's a nice little lizard. And when you come by the end of October and in beginning of November, you may have the chance to see Chlorea alpina, which is one of the beautiful terrestrial orchids. This is one of my real favorites, oxalis. I don't like the weeds in the garden, but I love this oxalis. This is so beautiful, and this is all oxalis laciniata in all shades of purple and pink and magenta. It is absolutely wonderful. Huge flowers with tiny, tiny leaves. And if you are in Puerto Deseado, just take one day more and make a small trip to a wonderful Bosque Petrificado, a petrified forest of Jaramillo. For Norbert and me, this is the most beautiful petrified forest that we know. And on the way to it, you cross this real surreal landscape. It's magnificent. And on our last trip, we had the great luck to see the maras. They have gone very, very rare now in Argentina. We didn't see many of them, but in springtime we had the luck to see them with their little ones. They look a bit like rabbits on long legs, but they are bigger than rabbits, of course. This is one of the most amazing trunks here in this Bosque Petrificado. In the background, you see a volcano, which is called Madre e Hija, mother and daughter. And it is one of the nicest views that you can have in this park. The entrance is free. You can just walk around. You can take your time and look at all these beautiful petrified stems. And someone has been very busy here, chopped a lot of wood. And there are cacti growing among these petrified pieces of wood. This is Pterocactus australis. I promised you we will meet this Pterocactus some time and a bit more often, because it is spread all over Patagonia. But it is so tiny that it is so difficult to see it when it doesn't flower. Maybe you have heard about the constant winds that blow over Patagonia. It is always windy here. In Germany, we would call it stormy because it's really strong wind, and this keeps all the plants very, very small and tiny and pressed down to the ground. This is a tiny shrub called Nassauia glomerata. It would be nice to have this in a rock garden, just like the Sarcodraba, and also this Mulinum hallei, which is very similar to the Azzurella compacta, which you know perhaps. We come even further south. We come to a town called San Julian, Puerto San Julian. This is where Magellan arrived with his ship, the Nao Victoria. This is a replica, of course. And when you stand next to this replica with this, which is in the original size, you cannot believe that people dared to cross the ocean in a nutshell like this. And this is the Rio Santa Cruz, the name-giving river to the whole province of Santa Cruz. We are rather close to the mouth of the river here, near Piedra Buena. And this is a place to look for cacti, because this is the place where Pterocactus australis has its type locality. And we came here to look for the Pterocactus australis with Roberto Kiesling. He wanted to go here to see the type locality, and you see him here together with me walking and looking around. We did not find the plant in a good condition there, but on the estuary of the river, we were much more successful, and this was just spectacular. We came at the right moment, and Pterocactus australis was here right at its best. Big clusters and in full bloom. It was incredible. And Austrocactus aunicancensis, which is the southernmost Austrocactus, has its distribution area here as well. And it was in full bloom as well, so we were very happy. And we thought, this day cannot get any better. But I was completely mistaken, because my husband had a very special present for me. This was one of my dream plants. I wanted to see it once in my life, and it was on St. Elizabeth's Day, and this was my present. Fabiana australis, also known under the name Petunia patagonica. And look how beautiful these flowers are. It's absolutely gorgeous. And they have these nice lines, just like small paintings in the flowers. You have these yellow and blue and lilac. Absolutely amazing. Oh, there's a Magellan penguin. And where's the Magellan penguin? The Magellan Strait can't be far. So there's the Magellan Strait. And the only plant that we found here was this Senecio gilesi. We come to our next place. We go to the Andes now. We leave the ocean, and the southern part of the Andes is characterized by the great glaciers and the glacial lakes. This one is the Lago Argentino. And the color of the lake just tells you that it must be a very cold lake. And sometimes you see icebergs drifting in this lake. And the icebergs come from here. This is the Perito Moreno Glacier that always gives ice into this lake. We have been there several times, and you see each time you are there around midday, you hear the glacier crack, and then the big pieces fall down, and all the surroundings of the glacier is much cooler and wetter than the rest of the area. And this is a good place to look for plants that are not succulent. We have Embotrium, Coccineum, and we have the beautiful Gaultheria with the flowers and the berries. And we have wonderful orchids. These are terrestrial orchids, spectacular flowers, Gavilea araucana and Gloria magellanica, very elegant flowers. And this one is a berberis, which has beautiful yellow flowers and which gets these dark, almost black berries afterward. The fruits are just, they look like blackberries and they taste a bit like blackberries, and they are called Calafate. And Calafate is also the name of the town next to the glacier. It's called El Calafate. And this, when you leave the touristic place of El Calafate and you cross the Patagonian southern steppe, this is always very empty. You don't meet a lot of people, but you see many animals. So the ostriches, which are called nandus, cross the road very often, and they They never try to avoid the car, but they just run in front of the car because they hope they are faster than you, but it makes it difficult for you as a driver. And you see, this is a male animal, the big one. It is daddy with all of the little ones. You can see foxes rather often. And with a bit of luck, the pichis, the armadillos, they live mainly in the soft areas where the soil is soft and they can dig their holes, their burrows. We moved to another glacier that it's on the neighboring lake, the Lago Viedma, and in the background you see the glacier called Viedma. And we make a stop here because there is a nice viewpoint from where you have a look over the lake at the Mount Fitzroy, which is also called the El Chaltén, a very famous and the dream of every climber. So we are not climbers, so we just look at it. But just don't look only at the mountain. Just look down to your feet when you stand here, because otherwise you would miss these plants. They grow next to the car park. It's Pterocactus australis again, our good old friend. Pterocactus scotsbergi and Austrocactus aonicancensis again. And another tiny plant making only carpets is Azurella monanta. To see these fantastic flowering anatrophyllum, you have to come a bit earlier. You have to come already in the month of October, at least beginning of November, because they flower very early. But when they flower, this is really spectacular. And they are called matafuego. A bit of culture. We visit the Rio Pinturas. This is a World Heritage Site. Thousands and thousands of years ago, men have lived here already, and they thought they had their shelter in kind of cave, and they made these paintings on the wall, which are so beautiful, and they are very well protected now. And when you come out after visiting these paintings, just walk around a bit and have a look at Myoeniopsis darwini. We go further north, visit one of my favorite lakes, the Lago Posadas. In fact, it's a double lake. In the front, it's Lago Posadas. In the background, the other lake is the Pueyrredón. It reaches over to Chile, where it changes its name. And when you have the possibility and the road is open, you can drive along the Andes Range on a very bad earth road along the Monte Ceballos Massif. And in one bend of the road, we caught sight of these flowers, Calceolaria uniflora, which made us stop immediately and just take a closer look. These are so beautiful, and the white part of these flowers is eaten by birds, and the birds pollinate the flowers by eating this white part of the flower. And all of these plants grow on the empty, rocky part. It looks just like a naked, rocky plain, but when you take a closer look, you can see all of these tiny, tiny flowers. It's really a paradise for a rock gardener. So look at this, Leucheria, which look like the Edelweiss, and Senecio. I love the Hippochaeris with these daily black antennas. And these Adesmias, they are so cute. Tiny, tiny. And wow, we are very proud that we can show you the flowers of this Valeriana moyanoi, which is a very rare plant, and we only caught it in flower twice. So a very nice flower stalk. And the violas. Norbert always said when he would have seen the violas before the cacti, he would have started with violas and not with cacti. So we wouldn't be here now. You see, the Cerro Colorado Ceballos massif is rather green, so there are no cacti here. But when we move further north, it gets drier, and we are very, very close to the Chilean border. The Rio Genemeni is still on Argentinian side, but on the other side we have already Chile. And you see that the soil is getting a bit drier, and in this part we find cacti again, and we have our good old friend Pterocactus australis again with a very orangey flower, and the Austrocactus on the other side was only described this year, only last month. Now it's called Austrocactus occidentalis because it grows so far in the west of Argentina. We are leaving Santa Cruz province, moving to Chubut on the good paved Ruta 40. And we come to a small town called Rio Mayo, and a little bit above Rio Mayo, we spotted these flat bushes, and there were some flowers popping out in brilliant red. I said, oh, we have to look what this is. And it turned out to be an extremely dark-colored variety of Austrocactus aunicensis. And plants seem to have a darker flower color here because the Myoania patagonica has usually white flowers, but here it has decided that pink should also be a nice color. So Pterocactus hikeni again, and beautiful Alstroemeria patagonica. Time to move on to the northern part of the Andes. In Patagonia, we come to the area of the Araucaria trees and the volcanoes. We start south of Esquel. There's a place called Cuesta Arbolito. Arbolito means small trees because there are not many trees here, and if they are here, they stay very tiny. And you see at the foot of this small tree, there's a cactus lurking out with a yellow flower. And again, this is Austrocactus occidentalis, which has quite a large distribution area. The flower is always yellow in different shades, but it always has these red stigma lobes. And it's a clustering Austrocactus. I think it would grow very well here in your area. And here we have the Myoania patagonica at its best, forming big, big clusters. And when you come at the flowering time, it's spectacular because the flowers are rather big. And here they are white, as they are usual. And to show you some other plants. We have the Syrinchium, which looks a bit like a grass. And we have another Jonelia. We had one at the beginning. And this one, I always thought that it was a dead plant because I didn't see the flowers. But look at the stems. They just look like some dead sticks. But they are flowering, so there must be life in them. And I noticed that the leaves are completely gray and tiny. Once we made a stop here, east of Gualjaina, on this barren plain, because it is the type locality of another pterocactus. I can tell you, we came here, we placed our car and we walked and we searched for hours. They were not flowering, but we came later and they were flowering. I said, oh, there are plenty of them. Why didn't we see them? Well, with flowers, it's so much easier. It's one of my favorite pterocactus. It's the only one that is really soft to the touch, and it has very, very short spines and are pressed to the body. North of Esquel, it gets greener and wetter, and these plants were introduced from, I think, Northern America and Europe. The lupines, they are not native here, but I tell you, you would not miss them. You want to have them here because it's so spectacular in all colors of lilac and purple and pink, and these bushes of broom. They are so beautiful in contrasting well with the red, flaming red of the Embotrium coccineum, which belongs here, which is native here. Of course, there are no cacti in this area, but it is so beautiful to travel here. And if you have money enough and you feel like it, you can reside in this fancy hotel in the middle of the lake, which is called the Yao Yao Hotel. Norbert and I are never dressed up well enough for it. So we only took the picture, and it's called the Yao Yao Hotel. And this hotel is named after this fungus, which grows always on notophagus. We come to the Pampa de Patagonia. It is drier here again, and this is a good place to look for cacti on spots with rocky outcrops like this. And this is a fantastic place to find Austrocactus coxii. And all these pictures, these 6 flowers, were taken on the same spot. So you see the great variability of the flower color of Austrocactus coxii. But they always have this yellow center and the pale yellow stigma lobes. Another Austrocactus grows here next to this river called Rio Coyuncura, was named after this river. The Austrocactus, initially it was called Coloncurensis, but a DNA study showed that it is a subspecies of coxii, so you have it here as a subspecies of coxii with the red stigma lobes and the pastel colored flowers. We move a bit further north towards the town of Zapala, and a good friend of us showed us this canyon because she found an Austrocactus here, and nobody knows what it is. So we say it's very probably a natural hybrid that built here. But it's such a beautiful plant. We have red and yellow spine plants here with these wonderful large flowers. And in the same canyon, we have another pterocactus. This is one of the forms of pterocactus fishery with a purple color flower. We are west of Sapala now. And in this area, we have several plants that are endemic for the province of Neuquén, which is on the right-hand side, the Pterocactus neuquensis. On the right-hand down, it is the Austrocactus longicarpus. Sorry. And you have Maiweniopsis platyacantha, which grows in Neuquén and in Mendoza as well. And we have our Pterocactus australis, now at its northernmost distribution. Well, and when we move a bit further upwards into the Andes from Zapala, we have these beautiful flowers of violas and arenaria and all these beautiful, tiny, tiny alpine plants. We visit a volcano, which is right behind the lake, Volcano Copaue, and at the foot of this volcano is this wonderful lake, the Caviahue. You have to get up very early in the morning, hoping that the wind is still asleep to get a picture like this. And around this lake, you have these violas. They grow right next to the lake. And it's a good place also to see Maiwenia pepigi in different flower colors, in pink, in yellow, and in white. We come to the upper reaches of the river Neuquén. You remember we are in the province of Neuquén, and this is the river Neuquén giving the name to the whole province. You can see at the rocks along the river that we are in this volcanic area. Very beautiful, lovely scenery, and we make a stop near a village called Manzano Amargo. There is this plain with bushes and low vegetation and a small brook. And there are so many beautiful flowers that grow here, all in the same place. The Viola pachyssoma with the white flowers and the purple lines. Then we have the Viola trochlearis, the one with the beautiful pattern on the leaves and the lilac pattern flower. And we have the Alsinium frigidum, which is very, very nice with the white flowers coming out quite directly out of the soil. And we have a calceolaria. We have here a selection of pink flowers, Calandrinia splendens, Amontiopsis. These are of the Portulaca family. And we have the Alstremeria, which is one of the most elegant flowers. Now, and this Rio Varvarco Valley is most spectacular valley, and the Rio Varvarco ends in the Rio Neuquén. It gives its water to the Neuquén. It is a very nice trip to go there, and also not only to see the scenery, but also for the plants. We have Maiweniopsis platyacantha again, with orange flowers, and it is one of the southernmost places, and I think one of the only places to see Austrocactus ebanus in Patagonia. My favorite volcano, the Volcano Tromen, it's asleep, I think, since 500 years, and the latest lava escorial is not yet covered with vegetation. And you see this flat area around the volcano. We have wonderful plants grow here, and a new Austrocactus only discovered a few years ago. and described only in in March. Austrocactus elegans, which is a tiny austrocactus, well hidden in cracks of the rocks, but the flowers are really huge, and it is one of the austrocacti that stays like compact, also in cultivation, and is very freely flowering. And you see the flower color varies a bit between greenish yellow to brownish yellow. And another new species of austrocactus, Austrocactus decorum, grows a little bit further to the east and south of elegans. It's Austrocactus decorum, which makes big clusters, a really big plant with huge flowers. So we wonder how it could have been overlooked so many years. Well, and now we reach the Rio Barrancas. We reach the end of Patagonia. On the other side of the river, we have Mendoza. And we have come to the end of my talk. But the pointer does not work. So now we look at Mendoza, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Elisabeth. That was really great.